Hey, hi, hello again. Today I wanted to talk about another subject us as college students know way too much about: dropping a class. Now, a lot of us don't talk about dropping a class because it leads to feelings of disappointment or failure instead of success. And I think that's very misrepresented because I think dropping a class leads to success. So, I wanted to share some of the positives about it. Earlier this year, my spring semester was really emotionally exhausting and I didn't do super awesome. My GPA plummeted because of that. Now, recovering from that this semester, I told myself that I was going to get a really great GPA. And initially this semester, I had registered for 17 credits, which at my college, 12 is full time. So 17 was above average, but not too much. So, going on through this semester, I had 4 classes that I needed to take for my major, and then one I decided to retake for a better grade. Now, I'm not talking about just dropping to just drop. I think you really should assess with yourself first. Are you being lazy and unmotivated? Is there something outside of this class, like work or health, that's making it too hard to maintain a schedule and study for this class? Or is your class schedule too much already? Now, I'm not just talking about being lazy and unmotivated and just not wanting to take an extra class, but is there something outside of your class that's too hard, like work or your health? I chose to drop my class because it was really hard at 17 credits, unlike I thought it would be. I thought I would have all A's super easy, but this class was not letting me do that. So I chose to drop after I met with the professor to make sure I could keep my GPA at where it needs to be. However, my professor's another story. She said to stay in the class and fail. Now, not a lot of professors tell you that. She said, though, it's so I can learn the subject matter and go back and take it again. I didn't want to do that because I was already taking it just to get a better grade. I decided to drop because I knew my other classes were worth learning more about and more in depth than taking a class to get a better grade. However, I am not talking to the students who drop a class because they're lazy or unmotivated. I don't recommend dropping a class for any of those reasons. I think we should consider dropping a class to better ourselves and our GPA and our future self-esteem, right? What would you think you'd feel like at the end of the semester if you got done with all of your classes, but one was an F, versus you got done with all of your classes, all of them were A's, and one was a withdrawal? I think I'd feel so much better about myself than I would if I had a failure, and I think you should think about that too. I think dropping a class leads to a bigger sense of success in oneself than staying with it and failing or getting a D or a C and something not good enough to maintain your GPA or your scholarships or high enough to make yourself happy. So with that being considered, I think dropping a class should be looked at as a disappointment. I think it should be looked at as a personal triumph. You did something that might have been emotionally hard for you, And why are you staying in a class that's going to ruin your GPA and maybe even your self-worth and self-esteem? Dropping a class can make you feel like you're a failure, you're not good enough, or just plain disappointed in yourself. But I think it should be considered a personal triumph. One of my best decisions this semester was to drop a class. Last semester, I had a really emotionally exhausting semester, and I didn't do well in almost any of my classes. So this semester, to make up for last semester, I was determined to do really well. I started by enrolling in 17 credits, which at my university, 12 credits is full-time. So I had a little bit more than normal students, but I didn't have too much, or so I thought. But as I started to take my classes, I decided it wasn't important for me to focus on 5 classes when I could do really, really well in 4. So I decided to drop one. I first went to my professor before I even considered dropping this class. I expressed my concerns to her. And her response to me was a pretty good indicator that I should drop the class. I emailed her asking, what should I do? I don't know if this class is right for me. And she replied back with some general Google-generated answers as to why I shouldn't drop the class. And then I replied, "Can I meet with you over Zoom?" And she said, "No, I don't think I could add any more." So that being said, I decided to drop the class. Going to your professor is really important. They can tell you things that you can't find on the internet, like about themselves. I know I was ready to drop that class when my professor said, "I don't have anything more to add," after just sending an email of Google-generated answers to my questions. Here's what I think you should do if you're considering to drop a class. First, self-assess yourself. Is the class too hard? Are you falling behind? Or do you have any interest in this class? Now, really assess yourself. Are you lazy and unmotivated and you just don't want to do the work? Because if you are, don't drop it. Pick yourself up, turn yourself around, and go do the work. I wish I told myself that many semesters ago as a freshman. After you go to your professor, you should really self-assess. Are you lazy and unmotivated and just don't want to do the work? If that's you, you should pick yourself up, turn yourself around, head straight back to your textbooks and start studying now. You can do it. If you think a class is too hard, I think you should pull up your course syllabus. Some of my classes this semester were go, go, go for the first half, and now I barely have any homework in them. You should really check and see if your semesters look like go, go, go classes all semester long, or some of them are lighter than the others. Lastly, as you're self-assessing, check and see if you can really keep up with the workload, or if you're falling behind because you truly can't learn it. Sometimes, even though the professor is nice to you and doesn't just give you Google-generated answers, it won't work for you just because you learn a different type than they teach. And that's okay. If you really think that you want to succeed in this class and now is not the time, I would really say drop it. Because you have the drive to do it and just need different times, that's okay, go ahead. If you learn anything from this video, know that you are not a failure and you are not a disappointment. I am proud of you because you made a decision that not a lot of other students do. So please remember, you are a great student for even considering making this decision. You know that it's going to have the best impact on you as a person and on your academic success. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something important. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.